Hello, my name is Artis Osborne, and I'm here with my online partner, Carolyn Winter, and our guest, Gail Glanville. Gail is a very experienced resonance repatterning practitioner, author, and has been with us over two previous events talking about how to promote what is oftentimes an invisible, intangible healing practice, and has given us some wonderful insights as to how to do that. She'll be wrapping up her presentation today with a brief repatterning using one of the 5 elements in terms of pulling this all together and moving us forward, resonating with promoting ourselves. So welcome, please, Gail Glanville. Thanks, Gail.
Thank you, Artis. Thank you, Artis. This is no small thing to take the woo-woo out of marketing invisible and intangible services. I know how many practitioners struggle with it. So I'm so pleased to be able to offer some thoughts. Marketing is changing. We're changing. So we'll just continue on with some basics. So you know how in the very first session we talked about starting with the end in mind? Always know where you're going when you start a marketing project. Know what you want to have happen as a result. Carolyn asked a question, sent in a question about how to get her online marketing service going. She just didn't know where to start. So one of the things that I really recommend, this is another way to start with the end in mind. I have this little drawing here. You see this pyramid? This is called your practice pyramid. Many marketers teach this, and they teach it either as a funnel shape or a pyramid shape. But when you have this pyramid, you start at the bottom. And at the bottom are the services and systems you're going to use to promote your practice. It starts with your website, most likely, a business card, going out and giving a free talk. What else can you think of that gets you in front of people, that spreads the word about who you are? I've always been successful writing articles because they give people enough information to understand what this is about. So the more ways you can spread the word about what you do, that's what builds the base, the foundation for your practice pyramid. I didn't say social media, and I should have, because now that's more and more and more important. Okay, so number 2, these are your one-on-one sessions. And you want to start bringing customers from the space up to your one-on-one sessions. Now, it's rare for a practitioner to make a really good livelihood just from one-on-one sessions. Not many do. So what helps is to add in this 3rd level here, which would be group events, where you do group telesessions. You bring in, you're working one-to-many. Obviously, you have to bring in more people from this base to do the one-to-many, but that's how you start expanding your market and expanding your income. Now, what I've recently realized is critical to make this pyramid work is the cap on the pyramid. So imagine that as your cap, you've got these things all working, but you want a bigger event. You want to say, bring a teacher in and host a teacher for a 3 or 4 day event. That boosts your income significantly. There are other things you can do. I have just realized, since I lived in the Virgin Islands for 20 years, that I can take tours, retreats, create retreats for practitioners in the Virgin Islands. Spend a week soaking in the salt water, soaking away all the stress and the negative energy that we pick up. That would be a wonderful service that I would love to offer. That would be the cap on my pyramid that would make sense given who I am. The other thing that we've talked about is that all of this has to be true to who you are. Has to be true to who your spirit is. The promise you make has to be a promise you can keep both inside and outside. So, I hope this is clear. It's very simple. And obviously you can adapt it any way you want. But essentially, it's a way to start. Draw your pyramid, particularly if you're just starting out. We were also going to talk today about how to own the podium. In this bottom base foundation, there's an opportunity to go out and give talks. How do you own the podium when you go out and give a talk? Well, it's actually very simple. And again, you start with the end in mind. Start with knowing what you want your listeners to get out of the talk. What do you want them to do? And you want to really focus on what the audience needs rather than on how your system or practice works. You want to keep it light. You want to help them feel better. You want to help them feel more uplifted. You want to make them smarter and happier and healthier, because after all, that's what our sessions do. That's what holistic healthcare is all about, helping people feel happier and healthier. So another thing to keep in mind to own the podium is very simple, and that is that people flock to love. When you communicate from your heart, when you tell heartwarming stories, people will feel uplifted, and they'll feel safe and confident with you. So just remind yourself in that bottom line, your outreach base, that people flock to love. So today, we're going to do a little sort of a mini repatterning session, resonance repatterning session. This one is based on the ancient Taoist Chinese 5-element system. Some of you may not know what that is, but I'll tell you what the 5 elements represent. And I believe there's a course coming up with artists that's teaching the 5-element system. So, the ancient Taoists simply looked at the world as they saw it, looked at what they saw around them, and realized that there were essentially 5 different energies, energetic expression of spirit, or energetic expression of the Tao. So we'll start with fire, because that represents the heart, and fire is considered the emperor in Chinese medicine. Fire represents your passion, your ability to network and connect. Your fire element is what communicates love in your talk. So then we have the earth element. Obviously, when you look around, you can see the earth. We walk around on the earth. And the earth represents nurturing. It represents the mother. It represents generosity. It represents security. And it represents your harvest. What seeds are you planting in the ground? What are you harvesting? Your earth wants to have a good harvest. Next, we have the metal element. Metal is all about your value. Metal is the gold and the diamonds and the gems that are in the earth. And your metal element represents how you value yourself, how you value your work, how you value your customers, how you value the way you promote yourself. And it also represents the ability to let go of what you don't need. Let go of what doesn't help you. It's the ability to know when to say yes and when to say no. So that's metal. Then we have the water element, which is where your core power is. Your natal chi lives in the water element. You have a certain level of power and depth and flow, and your work needs those qualities. This is the energy that empowers you and empowers your clients. When people come to you for hope and to feel better, what you basically are doing is empowering them to be more of themselves. That's the water element. Finally, we come to wood, which is how the qualities of all the other elements are brought into flower. If you think of a tree growing up from a seed or an acorn, that's the wood element. It brings things to life. And it's equally important in your marketing. How do you get yourself out there? If you're shy and timid, the wood element needs some help. So that gives you a very quick review of what you can learn later on in a bigger class than this. And I want to I created a little mini repatterning on the wood element, on the 5 elements. And this is based on an abundance repatterning, but it's fine-tuned to address our marketing problems. So abundance, yes, is something we all want, but marketing is a very specific issue, and it is a big issue for all of us. So we're going to look at the 5 elements in terms of your ability to improve your marketing, whether it's your message or your ability to get yourself out there. I don't know yet, because I'm going to use muscle checking with your permission to find exactly the right way to go, the right place to go in this repatterning. Okay? Okay. So I'm going to start with a question. And this is really a question of our collective energy so that we get to the right place in this session. The question is, which element will help the spirit of success most come alive in your practice? Which element will help the spirit of success most come alive in your practice? And I'm going to muscle check to see which element to start with. So muscle checking, we're going to start with fire, no. With earth, with metal, with water, yes. We're going to start with the water element. We need anything from wood, not today. So what do we need to know about the water element and how it's affecting our marketing? I have statements that I had pulled out and adapted from the other repatterning. And some of these statements I'm going to muscle check to find the ones that are the best ones to use in this group. So muscle checking through these lists, the first statement we need, this would be a statement about the problems, the metal element, problems in the metal element that are showing up in your practice. When you don't hold on to your assets or your reserves or your money, it kind of dribbles out for your finger, you have no reserves to help you move forward. So there is a statement here, muscle checking, that addresses that for this group. So how should we do this? Artist, do you want to say these statements, repeat them, and I'll muscle check them? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So please say, this is a general muscle check, I let my opportunities dribble away.
So we're focusing on the water element, right?
Yep.
Okay. I let my opportunities dribble away.
By holding back.
By holding back.
And letting others stand in my shoes.
And letting others stand in my shoes.
Yes. So in other words, we're not holding our power. We're not standing in our own shoes, and we just let opportunities literally dribble through our fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So muscle checking for the next statement. This is also a water element statement. It says, I freeze in front of strangers.
I freeze in front of
strangers. I would not think that's a problem you have, but for this group collective, we freeze in front of strangers, and that is a very early childhood pattern. So, would you like to say that out loud? I freeze in front of strangers?
I freeze in front of strangers.
All right, and we as a group are on for that. You as our proxy are on for it, so thank you. The water element also contains our potential, our empowerment, and our potential. All of our natal talents, what we're born with, are stored in the water element. So it helps to know, I'm going to pull out a statement that has to do with our potential as individuals.
You seem to be frozen, Gail.
Foster Carol. No, here you are back again. All right. So please say, my potential is inhibited.
My potential is inhibited.
Because of my fear of constant criticism.
Because of my fear of constant criticism.
Yeah. So we have that in our lives, and that you'll recognize is probably also an early pattern. And there's one more here for the group. So it is, artists, please say, I have a great story to tell.
I have a great story to tell.
I just don't know how to tell it.
I just don't know how to tell it.
Yeah. That's a little bit some of the limiting beliefs that Carolyn sent in also. So I'm going to muscle check that statement for you, and we're on for it. Again, as a group, we're on for it. So we have so many assets, and yet some very old childhood patterns are keeping us from fulfilling them. And this 5-element system helps us see exactly where that block is. It's in our natal chi. It goes way back. So let's let's do a little exercise to diffuse this underlying fear that's interfering with our marketing for success. So diffusing is a way to weaken or let go of this negative state, this old block, this constricted energy. And we're specifically releasing the statement of not being able to stand up to criticism and that strangers aren't safe. Isn't it hard to go out and market yourself if strangers aren't safe? So there's a feeling of insecurity here. There's insufficient earth element nurturing to contain the flood of fear that comes up. There's a lack of self-soothing, which again is an earth element. And we're going to release this from what's called the subtle level 3. These are levels beyond our physical body or our emotional body or our mental body. They're out sort of in the ether, and they represent ancient patterns. So at subtle level 3, we're holding this block to marketing our success. So there are certain exercises we can do that help release this. And in this case, we're going to do 2 at once, which really helps get out of our head and helps get out of all the places we hold on to these old stories. So for this group, what we can do together here and the people listening, and also people tuning in later on, who are energetically included, these are things you can do along with watching this video. So the first piece are eye movements, which help let more light, literally let more light into your system. We'll do an infinity 8 movement with your eyes. I'll move my fingers so you can track them. You always want to go up and around and down and then up and around and down. While we're doing that, we're also going to focus on our feet. So these are called proprioceptive foot movements, and you start by moving your feet apart and together. Maybe I'll do it this way: apart and together, apart and together. And then we'll come back, and move them up and down. Pump your feet up and down, up and down. So you want your feet sort of flat on the floor when we start. Your legs uncrossed, obviously. We'll start with the eye movements. So if you just follow my finger, and then you can start pumping your feet sideways. And then we'll switch to pumping up and down. Now what you'll find is that your whole mind-body system doesn't like having to do these 2 things at once, but persevere anyhow. You can do it. You will find that your feet movements will start to come into alignment with your eye movements, and that's okay. So eye movements, infinity 8. Eyes up and around, and down, and then up midline again, and around and down. Now start moving your feet together, eyes up, and around and down. Click your feet together, eyes up, and around and down. Click your feet together, up, down. Good. Click your feet together. So you can feel it's a little difficult to make your feet move while your eyes are moving, but it's okay. Now, pump your feet up and down while we're moving the eyes up and around, up and around, up and around, and up and around. Okay, so let's finish this by just tapping your feet on the floor. You want to bring the spirit of success all the way into your body, all the way back from this realm out here, all the way into your body, into your mental body, your emotional body, your physical body, all the way down into your feet, so that you're standing on the ground, you're standing in your own shoes, you're standing on your own feet. Tap, tap, tap. Good. So that's a little exercise in how to change your energy around this old pattern. So, take a deep breath. We'll let this settle for a minute. And get ready to move on to what I call coherent marketing behaviors that also come from the water element and reflect claiming our power. The water element is about power and flow, And it's what we need to have in order to go out and market ourselves. We need to be in our power. So this statement that reflects what we're doing has 4 pieces. Artist, do you want to say this again and I'll muscle check it? I know my strengths and my talents.
I know my strengths and my talents.
I know the empowerment my ideal customer needs and wants.
I know the empowerment my ideal customer needs and wants.
Mm-hmm. My ideal marketing materials empower me.
My ideal marketing materials empower me.
By converting my fear into wisdom.
By converting my fear into wisdom.
And my lack of reserves.
And my lack of reserves.
Into a contained and prosperous practice.
Into a contained and prosperous practice.
All right. And we're not on for that yet, but we will be.
Good statement.
Contained and prosperous practice, yes. And that sort of answers the question that Carolyn submitted about wanting to grow her online business. How do you make it? Part of what she needs to do is to create a contained vision for a practice instead of just being out there. Okay. So this is an exercise for you to do now. There's a question. And it is, how will you be and how will your life be when you have a better marketing and business plan? In other words, when you fulfill this previous statement, what will your life be like? How will you be? And how will you present yourself to the world in a way that's fulfilling and satisfying for you? Because if it's not fulfilling and satisfying for you, you won't do it. That simple. You just won't do it. So another way to ask the question is, how will life awaken in you when all 5 elements are aligned and you know how to market your own intangible and visible practice? Because everything has come into alignment. How will life awaken in you? So, you know how we practice with short statements in the marketing thing? I think it was in session 1. This creates a simple statement that reflects the balance. And I just made this up. You can make up another one. But a simple statement might be, all my services bring the joy of spirit into life. In other words, no matter where I am in the pyramid, I'm bringing the joy of spirit into life for me and my clients. I welcome new and ideal clients into my practice. So to strengthen the energy match for this statement, we'll do another modality. Since we're working with the water element, it should most likely be a sound modality. Water loves sound. So one of the most reassuring of the water element or sound modalities is harmonic overtones. And we need to do this for ourselves to get the vibrations going deep in our bodies. Harmonic overtones reflect the fact that every sound you make, every note you tone, has a series of harmonics included in it that go down into the earth and up into the higher realms of spirit. In order to strengthen our energy match with that, we will make these tones ourselves so that we're toning all the way down to our toes and all the way up. So the best way to start with harmonic overtones is to simply kind of put your lips together and go, oh, and open them up, ah, So harmonic overtone sort of puts all those sounds together. And you're going to learn how to use your tongue to flatten out the sounds. Push them back in your throat. Sort of roll your tongue up and push it back in your throat so that the vibrations go into your spinal cord, go into your skull, the bones of your skull. And it sounds like this, and I hope Carolyn and Artis will help with this. So you have the O, A, E. So you're not using your lips as much, you're using your tongue, and it sounds like this. You can make it any note you want. You can make it low, you can make it medium, you can make it high, but you do it in a series. You do it a number of times so you get those vibrations going. So let's try practicing. The more you push your tongue back against your throat, the more you get that sort of strange vibrational sound. You will sound like a Tibetan monk chanting. But that's what you want. You want that sound. Now when you're doing it, let's just gently wiggle our spines to help this vibration move down into our body so that we eventually stand on our own 2 feet. Okay. We need to continue with this a little bit more. Move your spine a little bit more. See if you can feel this energy of spirit, the spirit of success going all the way down to your shoes. Standing in your shoes, your own 2 shoes. Okay, this is complete. So take a deep breath. Feel yourself sitting on your sits bones. Feel yourself standing in your own 2 shoes. Feel yourself being in your body and in your power. So what you're saying to yourself with this toning is, all of my services bring the joy of spirit into my life. I welcome new and ideal clients into my life. And I intend that these harmonic overtones help me bring the spirit of success into my life. So I'm going to go back and muscle check this statement. No, I just need to do the one about I know my strengths and my talents. So artists,
I'm ready.
Okay, so please say, I know my strengths and my talents.
I know my strengths and my talents.
Yes, and you're on for that. Good. I know the empowerment my ideal customer needs and wants.
I know the empowerment my ideal customer needs and wants.
That is so critical for marketing yourself. You have to know what they need and want. Yes. My ideal marketing materials empower me.
My ideal marketing materials empower me.
By converting my fear into wisdom.
By converting my fear into wisdom.
And my lack of reserves.
And my lack of reserves.
Into a contained and prosperous practice.
Into a contained and prosperous practice.
Okay. And you're on for that. So that means that everybody listening is on for it. Everybody has switched. Their energy is now a match for this kind of higher level hopeful approach to marketing. So let's see. We've done that. We've switched, and so it is. So the positive action for all of you listening and listening later on is to create a clarity of vision for your practice. Have a really clear idea of what you want to create. Do the pyramid. Know the outcome you want before you start. It's no small question to ask yourself, what size practice do I want? How many customers do I want? Do I want to serve the world, or am I very comfortable serving the people in my neighborhood? And then think about what steps will get you there. So, that we come to the end of this session. I thank you very much for watching, for being with us, and I wish you all the best in developing your practice. Bye now. Thank you, artists. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you for hosting this.
Thank you, Gail. And thank you for giving me a personal reminder about how difficult it is to truly compartmentalize. I mean, we think we multitask with ease, but when you had us doing the infinity eights plus the feet out and in, my brain went, "Yeah." So I think it's a good reminder that we think we're multitasking seamlessly, but inside we're going, "Yeah." So that's just a good example. Gail, thank you. These were very, very powerful statements that you created for us. I think you tapped into a lot of our deep-seated fears that we just can't cut it. We're just not good enough, that come from family or come from a teacher making an innocent comment. And maybe the attempt of the teacher was to motivate, but instead it imploded us. We said, I'll never make it. I'll never reach that. Yeah. So I think your statements and then clearing those long-seated fears, because water element's very much about fear, and turning, as your beautiful positive statement was, turning fear into courage. That I can do this, I can go forward. And I just love the simplicity of your idea. Begin with the ending in mind, because I think so few of us actually do that. So sit with ourselves and say, what is it I want my practice to be, or my business? Am I really energized one-on-one, or am I more energized in groups? Or is there another setting? Maybe I'm more energized going into a business and helping a business create a business plan. So to really have that in mind, and I love how you weave in, you have to enjoy it. You have to be lit up by it, because if that piece is missing, it's pretty flat, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, you won't get anywhere for long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to listen and re-listen and re-listen to these 3 recordings you've given us. Really a precious gift, and I thank you, truly. I'm going to use it personally, and I know everyone listening to this is going to benefit from it. So if anyone listening needs more mentoring, kind of one-on-one mentoring, please contact Gail. She's excellent at helping us see ourselves in a very empowering way. And thank you, Carolyn, for the technology input, keeping us connected online and empowering us that the computer is our friend and technology is our ally. So thank you both, and look forward to another time.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.